Ladies and gentlemen, it's currently a wild time in the world of chess as the greatest player, probably of all time and definitely of the last decade plus, Magnus Carlsen, is sort of going on a little bit of a spiritual journey. All right, he's playing some poker, he's not defending the classical World Chess Championship, and he's trying out different hairstyles. And, well, right now he's playing in a tournament in Poland, and it's called the Super Bet Rapid and Blitz. And a day or two ago, I made a video called What Happened to Magnus Carlsen? And I got this idea because I saw this amazing photo on Twitter of him just kind of, meditating at the board. By the way, great thumbnail, great title combo. Got to give myself a little bit of credit. Look, it's news when Magnus loses, and it's news when Magnus doesn't do well because he is an exceptional chess player. But for the sake of his career and a bit of my own, I'm hoping that he continues to crush at least for the next few years because the world is better when Magnus is at the top. And in today's video, Magnus Carlsen made an announcement. Magnus Carlsen made a statement as just watch. Okay. All right. 5 games. I'm going to show you 5 games that Magnus Carlsen was involved in. Oh boy. Get ready. This was something. Okay, Magnus's first opponent, well, not first, but of these games, Kirill Shevchenko, who now represents Romania, born and raised in Ukraine, now represents Romania under FIDE flag. Magnus plays e4, plays this kind of peculiar move order of the Sicilian defense, which more or less, there could be some e5s here to close it up. His opponent plays into a dragon. And Magnus plays a very passive dragon, knight b3. The mainline dragon is, f3, queen d2, long castle. Magnus plays knight b3, and then f3, and he still could castle long, but this type of setup that he's playing prevents black from very quickly playing the move d5. I mean, technically, it doesn't prevent black from playing the move d5, but the move d5 would lose a piece. Okay, so his opponent plays knight e5. The dragon Sicilian is such that these bishops try to attack, the pawns try to attack, the queen tries to attack, the rook tries to attack, and white tries to attack over here. So Magnus plays king b1 and h4. There it is. The attack has been launched. Now, black really should do something about white's attack, because if he doesn't, white is going to play h5, g4, and so on, so he plays h5. The problem with this setup, I mean, h5 is a very logical move because it prevents the move g4. Because black controls g4 with 1, 2, 3, and 4 pieces. Which is why Magnus plays the move g4 immediately. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh, when you think you got your opponent cornered and all of a sudden, Kaiba breaks the rules. And h takes g4, and now with a pawn standing on that square, none of those pieces can actually go there, so f4. Oops! Suddenly black's pieces have to go backwards. And when they go backwards, Magnus removes the knight from the defense. Now the knight jumps to the middle of the board. He removes the knight from its outpost there. And bishop takes g4. Now, had knight takes d4 been played, we could add bishop d4, queen c2, king a1, and black would have taken the bishop. But Magnus plays bishop takes g4. And at some point, Magnus is knocking on your door. The worst thing you can wake up to in the middle of the night is not diarrhea. It's not defaulting on your taxes. It's Magnus Carlsen knocking on your door. Pawn to h5. Black tries to come forward. Let me tell you something right now. Magnus does not even need to rush. He just takes right back, and his king is safe. All his king did in the last couple of moves was open up the windows in the summer beach house. The king is hanging out over here. There's a little bit of rain, a little bit of wind coming in this direction. He just opens up the windows and takes a breath, while on the other side of the board, his squadron is pulling up. The queen, the rook, the bishop, queen h2, and in this position, facing checkmate, Kirill Shevchenko resigned the game. And this is game number 1. I think you know where this is going. Game number 2, Magnus has white against Richie Report. Magnus plays a triple pawn setup. His opponent plays kind of a modern sniper-esque position, but we have a King's Indian defense. This is just, now we're just in a King's Indian. Black has played c5. Black will play for e6 and b5 stuff. There's e6. And after check, we have bishop e3. Now, there's a very edgy and weird line here where black sacks the rook. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. And f takes e3, and basically black gets this kind of a setup. I mean, it looks completely ridiculous, but he gets a setup on the dark squares. And Magnus plays queen f2, Rapport plays knight e5, Rapport trades, and now Magnus wants to remove this knight, which is why it replaces the other knight on d7. Now you'll notice the computer doesn't think white is better at all. Actually, the computer thinks the opposite. The computer thinks that this position is extremely difficult to play for white, because you cannot make any pawn progress, and black is rock solid. He will just play a6, maybe b6, bring the rook. So Magnus plays bishop g4. Why does he play bishop g4? Because he needs to simplify down a little bit of material. Like if, very arbitrarily speaking, if like several trades happen, look at white's winning chances now, right? So the more trades, the better. Suddenly white is +3. Very instructive. Back here, material is more or less even, position is the same, meaning, and the position is equal. So bishop takes c3 by Rapport. He damages Magnus's pawn structure, and he says, all right, Magnus, you want to play a positional game? You will absolutely never win because my knight on e5 is a god. I mean, I gotta tell you, that is a beautiful pony. Not like that. It's a beautiful pony. But Magnus is a principled man. He knows that a queen trade here is likely beneficial for him. But look at Rapport, man. I mean, Rapport just playing confident chess. I mean, seriously, just beautiful knight in the center of the board. The computer thinks that this maneuver was a little bit too slow, and instead Rapport should have taken on c4. I gotta tell you, I don't know why he didn't. Maybe he didn't like g4, at which point something like this might occur. When Magnus's rook is planted here forever, and that knight is disallowed to move because Magnus just pressures. But instead of that, Rapport went for a setup like this, where he basically just tried to kill Magnus's play. Here's the problem, all right? With trying to kill Magnus's play, he gonna get you, all right? And this endgame is winnable for white, because at some point, he will break through with his rooks. 2 rooks are better than a rook and a knight. I'm sorry, they just are. Rook c1, and here comes Magnus, all right? Gives a check, here comes the king, nice and easy, all right? Pawn to g4. And now you may wonder, why is it saying that white is so much better if white can't make any progress and black is rock solid? Well, white is gonna go g5 on the next move, and then white is gonna go a5, removing the play, and then white is gonna rotate the rook around and go after the pawns, and black just can't do a thing, all right? Rapport plays g5, swaps off the g pawns, all right, and Magnus, look at this. This is some dank stuff here. Magnus rushed a little bit according to the computer. He could have taken on g5. Magnus says, all right, let's play a rook endgame. I now have a protected passed pawn. I'm going to make this as difficult as possible for you. Then I'm going to bring my king up. Stockfish could maybe draw this, but it's very, very difficult to play. Look, king g3, rook e8. Magnus posing practical problems, making it very annoying, but it is a draw. It is a drawn endgame. Rook e6 check. King g3. Rook h1, and here comes Magnus gonna attack the pawns. Rook f1. Takes the pawn. Rook f3 check. Rapport also has 2 pawns. Magnus takes the other pawn. f4. This is nuts. How is Magnus doing this? How is he so calculated in his risk-taking? f3 check was wrong. Rapport had to give this check, force the king back, and then play e3, or run that way. Instead, he does it like this, which allows Magnus's king to be a little bit active, and all of a sudden, rook f4, oh, the rook a2, he takes, and he's won the pawns, and he's winning. Dust settles, rook endgame, Magnus got him exactly where he wants him, pushes, and this is a winning king and pawn endgame. That's sickening stuff. Sickening, and the incredible thing about this position, only 1 king move wins. Folks, in this position, white has 8 king moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only one of them is winning. And it's here. Why? Because if you go here, black gets opposition, and now you cannot make any progress. King f4, king f6, king e4, king... Right? Up. I can even run that way. Nuts. King f4, and Rapport resigned because now it's opposition and Magnus wins. What a brute. 2-0. Now this game, Magnus had the black pieces versus Anish Giri, and he was finding all sorts of ways to win. Knight f6. Watch this game. Anish Giri builds up a fantastic positional bind. He expands on the queen side with d5 and a5. Magnus is worse. Queen to b3. Magnus fights back on the queen side, but Anish confidently marching forward. Rook b1, and now Anish plays g4. This man is not taking any disrespect, all right? Any disrespect. He is clamping the center, he is attacking on the king side, and he's got the queen side under lock. Magnus goes back to e7, bishop c4, queen b6 infiltrating. This is a vintage Giri game. Positional squeeze, no play, calling the shots. Magnus plays rook c7. Terrible coordinate configuration here. Anish marches forward. I mean, it looks like the game is completely lost. That's it. Magnus is going to lose. You cannot take this, and I'm going to get to a7 or b7. I mean, this is nuts. Who can play chess like this? Knight d7. One of the only defensive moves. Kicking out the queen. Pawn takes a6, but now, you got pinned. Bishop a5. Magnus has to sacrifice the rook. But Anish does not even rush. He does not rush with this move. Anish finds a critical idea here. d4. Super important pawn break, because now the knight gets in, and the knight is either getting to c6 or f5. Rook b1. Magnus has 13 seconds on the clock and a completely losing position. He offers a queen trade. Anish takes the rook, drops the bishop back so it doesn't get hit with any tempo. A little bit passive. He could have been a bit more aggressive. Magnus plays a5. Anish infiltrates with queen e8. Magnus just plays a4. He doesn't know what to do. It's plus 2.7. Plus 2.7. Rook b8 infiltrating. Knight d7, rook c8 hits the queen. And now Anish Giri is completely winning. Magnus back to the wall. 5 seconds on the clock. Knight f5 infiltrates. He also could have played knight c6 with the same idea to cover e5. Knight f5, knight f6. And the game is over. Plus 39. And now it is mate in 17 moves. Now, it's not force mate in 17 moves, but white has knight to e7, which wins. Because if you take, it's queen f8, it's bishop d3, it's checkmate. If knight e7, king h7, there's this. And there's various checkmates. If bishop takes e7, bishop d3 is the killing shot. And if knight e7, if knight e7, bishop d3 is even faster killing shot, and you win. Anish Giri, knight f6, he has knight e7 check, and he takes the pawn instead. He's still winning. But now Magnus plays queen b1. And Anish can take another pawn for free. But instead he centralizes. Now Magnus gets out of the way. Anish Giri's still winning. But Magnus getting activity. Suddenly Anish is respecting his play. Now Magnus kicks him out. Now Magnus is consolidating. Queen a1 offering... Magnus says no trade. No trade. I'm dancing around. Queen to d4. And suddenly the pawn in the center has fallen. The advantage is completely gone. Rook e4, queen c5, and in absolutely devastating fashion, Anish Giri hangs a fork, and then Anish Giri hangs his queen. Is that right? Is it... What? No way. I can't even... What? That's 3 wins for Magnus. That's 3 wins for Magnus. Next game, Magnus with the white pieces. This man is playing the Danish Gambit. This man's trainer, Peter Nielsen, is a Dane. I hope that's what they're called. I hope I didn't say like a racially derogatory term. I'm pretty sure they're called Danes. People from people from Denmark. I'm a chess streamer. I talk faster than my brain works sometimes. He played this to dedicate it to his trainer, longtime coach and trainer, Peter Nielsen. Levon Aronian, commonly known as LeBron Aronian, plays d5. And we have a relatively fresh position. Magnus, unfortunately, unable to get his opponent to commit to some sort of Danish gambit. And so we have this, bishop b5, queen e7 check. And now a trade on c6. And a castle, and another trade. However, the way that this was played there is still a king in the center of the board, and Magnus gives a check, and black has some very big problems to solve. The very big problems include the fact that it's very difficult to commit the king anywhere. You see, if Magnus had played even one more move slowly, like bishop to f4, black would have played this, and then black would have brought the other rook, and black would have brought the bishop, and like this, and but rook e1 check, bishop e7, and Magnus just takes. Now, I think Aronian wanted to open up the g file and start some sort of attack, but Magnus gives a check. Very important check, by the way. This is absolutely the best move, because not all checks are the same. That move not only wins time, it also is able to bring the queen back, and a queen trade here definitely benefits white because he is better. Now, the best move here is rook d6 to open up like this, but it's blitz. Aronian plays bishop c5 instead, and then offers a queen trade. That's a crazy decision to me, because you're down a pawn, and the kings are on opposite sides. Down a pawn, kings on opposite sides, you probably should start to create an attack. Why would you trade your most powerful piece? Okay, certainly he had an idea, I understand, but just from everything I know about chess, I'm pretty certain you ain't supposed to do that, right? Like, queen f6 is a wild move. I mean, even something like rook g8, like, okay, white's gonna play knight e4, but the computer here wanted rook e8. Okay, apparently rook e8 is the way. I would have played rook g8 though. But I'm talking about the game, I'm not playing the game, so queen f6. Magnus is a pawn up in an endgame. Watch how clinical he does it. Knight b3, trade bishop. Trade the bishop, don't even hesitate. Some of you would have been like, ooh, pin. Maybe. Magnus is not interested. Bishop to e3, instant trade, knight goes back to the center. If you kick the knight out of the center, I will just centralize, and I'll be in a very comfortable position. So you play knight e4, pawn to g3, my king can now no longer ever get mated, and I just make an effortless improving move. I just slide my king up one square because I know that in the endgame, my king is going to be important. You kick out my knight, I play knight f3. You bring your king, take, knight endgame, baby. Magnus is so confident, he knows that this endgame is probably easy to win. That's so crazy to me. He understands black has nothing for him in this endgame. Knight d3, and the reason why Magnus is winning here is the split pawns. There are so many pawns on the board that he will bring the king forward, expand, and win. Rook a8, rook e7 check, rook e2 back, knight e5, and in this position, Levon blunders, knight takes pawn. And resigns, because after knight f7, there is a fork, and you do not want to play Magnus in a rook endgame down 2 pawns. We already saw Rapport play an endgame equally and lose. Imagine playing an endgame down 2 pawns. And then Magnus ended his day playing the leader of the tournament, Jan Krzysztof Duda, the local from Poland. He has the black pieces, and he plays pawn to d4. We're going to have what's called a reverse Benoni. Knight f6, bishop g5, knight d2, knight e1, and f4. A very tense position is arising as Magnus is restricting his opponent on this side of the board. Bishop d7, queen knight a5. All right, rook a6, edgy little move. Maybe looking for rook b6, like this. Maybe looking for rook d6. And he has the option to repeat moves. Why is his rook on d7? Can somebody explain that to me? Bro, how he got his rook to d7 without moving his bishop or his queen? This man is a magician. You can't spell magician without mag, all right? Magnus plays a5, a4, rook a6, brings the bishop back, rook d7. Ridiculous. Here comes the knight. The rook slides over again. Yo, I've never seen something like this. How did this man get a rook to e7 without moving any of his other pieces? Houdini. Rook d1. Trade, and now a structural improvement, f5. This is such a high-level move. It's completely preventing white from expanding on this side of the board, and now he's going to build behind his pawn structure, and now he's going to play e5. Take. Now, Duda's fighting back with pawn to b3. We have bishop e6 coming. Rook has been forced back. Now this bishop slides forward. You know why the bishop slides forward? Because the a file and also bishop to a5 is under pressure. If the knight falls, that falls maybe. Bishop d5 will trade the bishop. And then Magnus plays g5. Oh, look at him. He's extracting the maximum from all of his resources. Pawn to g4. f4. It's like nothing can stop the avalanche. Rook h5. Pressure on the king. Rook f4. Take. Rook takes b5. Whoa, 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 whoa. Can we see that once again? Rook takes f4, hits the queen. The rook is hanging. The queen is guarding the rook. Take, sacrificing to get that. Magnus takes on b5 instead. If you take this, I get this. If you take this, I get that. So we have rook f1, and now it's time to play an endgame. Rooks and bishop versus rook, bishop, knight. Check. Rook b2, rook e2. Now it's an opposite colored bishop endgame. Nobody should be winning this. Opposite color bishop endgame. All you gotta do if you're white is trade the rooks. All you gotta do if you're black, don't trade the rooks and pose problems. h5. Rook a1. Nope. Nope. Now that pawn is menacing. Rook a2. Wait a minute. Oh. Bishop d6. Rook f5. Rook a4. Okay, well, the king is safe. That's a good sign, right? Magnus builds his little barrier. Now his king's getting closer. Duda takes. Bishop d2. Oh my goodness, the bishop's getting in. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Rook h2. Okay, bishop f4 holding everything together. King to e5. Game is hanging on a knife's edge. King f1. Rook takes h5. It has fallen, but it's probably still a draw. Or is it a draw? How is Magnus going to possibly win this position? Rook g5. Okay. How's he going to win, though? Uh-oh. Here comes the king. Oh, the king's coming, and the rook is booting this king. Oh, it's been booted forward. Here comes... Oh, my goodness. The black king has arrived. The black king has arrived. This king is getting booted out. Now the king has arrived on f2 to escort the pawn. King e3. And Magnus is going to threaten a sacrifice of rook for bishop because that is the only way to win this position. Rook e2. And there it is. If you do this, I go here. If you do this, I get 2 passed pawns. He wins on demand. 90 move game. It took a few days, but the GOAT is back. Folks, Magnus didn't win a game for like 7 or 8 rounds in this tournament. He won 5 in a row. He's back to second place. He's back to second place. He just beat the tournament leader. I think there's a chance he wins this tournament despite not... Somebody find this for me. When is the last time Magnus Carlsen started a tournament without a win in the first 7 rounds? Or the first 6 rounds? He back. In the words of Anderson Silva, the mixed martial artist, I back. Trust me, I back.